Hello, Booktooth. um, these are summer books. Books I want to read in summer. Books I will probably read in summer. Books I will definitely, if I read them, talk about in this channel. Because I don't talk about all the books I read. I probably talk about 70% of the books I read. Yeah, but I also like keeping my reading intimacy over there because not only because sort of like knowing that I'm gonna make a video determines a little bit the way I read the book, which is interesting. I didn't know that would happen, but it's sort of it's kind of happening. Like it's the same as like having reading friends determines the way you read a book because you are thinking about what you're gonna say, right? That also happened. Like the first time I had friends that read was when I moved to the UK and started going to uni. And that changed the way I read a little bit, and also the quantity. I started reading a lot more, but this is even more immersive. So yeah, I mean, there's some books that I'm just not saying anything about, but these are books I will talk about if I read them. And there are more, but I didn't want to be too ambitious with this video, just in case. I don't want anyone calling me out because I didn't read even half of what I was saying that I was gonna read. Because summers are complicated. Because during summer I'm free. During the year I'm not free. To have access to the loans and scholarships and everything in the UK as an immigrant student, I'm forced to be working and living in the country throughout the academic year. But on summer, I am a free being. I don't have to go to class and I don't have to be on the country. And that means that I am able to do what I like most, which is being a wanderer, just going wherever I want, whenever I want, with only one-way ticket. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing this summer. That will definitely influence a lot my capacity to do things that require me sitting down and thinking introspectively. So yeah, that being said, the first book is a preparation. By the way, yeah, this is from now to late July approximately. These are books I want to read from now to late July because after it's a different list. I don't know what's August is a different month. It's a completely different month from July to me. I'm gonna be in a completely different state, place, and everything. So we'll see what happens in August. I know in August I'm gonna be reading Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain is not on this pile, and Magic Mountain is the most important book I'm reading this year. And it's like it's the one that I'm like looking forward to read the most. Along with another book, there are two books that I will talk about apart from this video. Because I want to do a read along as well, or two read alongs this summer. So yeah, let's just focus on what we have right here. Yeah, so preparation for Magic Mountain will be Death in Venice. Death in Venice is another work from the same author, Thomas Mann, but for me, a bit less imponent. I'm not so scared of this book. So it will not only help me get acquainted with the author's voice, it will also reinforce, hopefully if it's a good book, it will reinforce my determination to read Magic Mountain in August. Next book is the kind of book you will never see on, or I have never seen on Booktube, which is Disforia Mundi by Paul Preciado. Paul Preciado used to be Beatriz Preciado. She documented her transition. This is queer theory, basically. In a few books, she has one about Contrasexual Manifesto, which was very interesting. She doesn't believe in anything like sexuality or gender, which for a trans person is quite interesting. In his case, because he's Paul Preciado now, so in his case, the transition was almost like a philosophical experiment, as the way he says it. Because I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, of all human experiences that you can have, I think that experiencing both genders is definitely something. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. Like, we have piles and piles of books of people taking drugs, and everyone is crazy about how interesting those experiences are. I think that the experience of someone who's been on a male body and then suddenly on a female body is something. It's just crazy that can even be on humans, on mammals, that can be a thing. There are other animals that are able to change gender, but we were not one of them until last century. Not to the degree that we can do it now. He wrote another book called Stoyonki, which is all an account on like the amount of drugs that they have to take in order to transition, and how like basically you're a junkie. You become a junkie. You rely not only in terms of addiction and necessity, but your own identity rely on the drugs that you are taking as a person in transition. All of those things are I just find them incredibly interesting. Paul Preciado is like the only person, like, I mean, I used to read Maggie Nelson. I read some Maggie Nelson. Over time, I realized that I just don't like her writing so much. It's just like a too academic. Not even academic. It's just like a bad dissertation or thesis or something. It's just like quoting other people all the time. That's this in her books. There's even almost no space for what she's saying. It's just like a collage of what other people says that she agrees with. So I did like a lot her biography though. Her memoir or whatever that was, autobiography, memoir. The Argonauts. That was a good book. But on Freedom, I agreed with everything she was saying, and yet I just did not enjoy the book at all. Paul Preciado is different. Paul Preciado is... I love reading Paul Preciado. I recommend An Apartment on Uranus if you are interested in reading some queer theory that might not be as dislikable as the ones that you might have read in the past, because I agree that there's like a lot of trash on this genre. But I don't think this is one of those cases. I think this is... it's completely worth reading. An Apartment on Uranus is a collection of essays. I have read some of them. I haven't read the whole thing, but I've been around someone who's read them all and talked about them to me. So I can't recommend it. And I'm very much looking forward to this book. I've heard from one of my main bibliographic references, like one of my main bibliographic teachers, Ernesto Castro, a Spanish philosopher, that this might be the best non-fiction book written in Spanish language on this year. By this year I mean last year, because I think it was published last year. And it will come out in English as well, so we'll see. That's all. This Friday Monday. The Left Hand of Darkness. This book is coming after I read Foundation. Because I don't want to read any other sci-fi until I read Foundation from Isaac Asimov. I'm kind of like I'm very sort of like traditional for this. Like I like reading chronologically, and I like reading the important works before, and then like work my way down. And for me, generally the books like this, like books that I'm pretty sure that this book I will like more than Foundation. But because Foundation is one of those books that like influence the genre of sci-fi so much and everything, I feel like I want to read it before, and then I'll read this, and I will also read The Dispossessed, and I will then move on to some other sci-fi writers, like, I don't know, maybe Clifford Simak with City, and Michael K. Vaughan and Sean Stanfast have made me want to read City for a while. Like, I've been thinking about it for a while. I just didn't find it on the second-hand bookstore where I got this. So that's coming. Other Minds. I hated my octopus teacher. I hated it so much. I hated the documentary. I didn't read the book. A friend of mine read the book, heard about it. I still hate it. It's one of those books like you cannot on the same work, on the same documentary, say this octopus is my friend, and then sit down and watch that octopus be mutilated by sharks while you are holding your camera, because it's a cycle of nature. Everything is the fucking cycle of nature. You are nature. If you fucking call that octopus your teacher and your friend and make a documentary or a book that makes you fucking rich, you don't get to, after doing that and after profiting on that friendship, just sitting down and seeing the octopus be attacked by sharks that are fucking reef sharks. They are not a threat to you. If you were just to swim across close to the octopus, they would go away. Because I know how this works. I'm a fucking diver. So sorry. So I wanted to read a good book on octopuses, and this happens to be one of them. Yeah, that's it. Oh wow, this is this is the schizophrenic book. I don't know what this is. A guy gave it to me on a philosophy festival a few days ago, and I'm like, I mean, like, he gave it to me for free, and he said, like, I just want a review, and I was like, you know what, I'll give you a review. I'll write a formal review just for you. I'll give you like 1,000 words, because I'd be that guy. I will be that guy someday. I'll have my own book, and I'll be like, please just give me a review. I don't need anything else. So even though this book doesn't, I don't think I'm gonna like this book. It is an interesting book. It's this kind of like, you know, when you get like someone who's read too much philosophy and wants to contain the universe in a single book. That's what this feels like. But it's written in this kind of like, against us for universal, galactic, divine will, commander ruling, to be obeyed or disobeyed at a peril of ephemerality, mortality according to fundamental law and free will, in synthetic, analytic, moral imperative, questioning, repeating, analyzing out, only live to die, only live to die, love or die, love to die, love to live, murderous suicidal thoughts, having murder in thought, self-destructive, destroying all other, forced as fraudulent, adultery, set out, ghost, casting the net. I could go on, deceiving the other. It's full of references to philosophy and other works and everything, but it's not very cohesive. I can already see that, and I haven't even read the book. So I don't have very high expectations for this book, but I held it on my hand. I saw the guy on the eyes. He asked me. I said, yes, I will read this book. I will maybe even make a video about it, but I will definitely write a review and send it to him by email, that's for sure. Yeah. Earth Center, the end of the universe. That's the picture of the man. So I'll read the book. I promise I will. Angela Davis, Women, Race and Class. It's just kind of, this is the kind of like philosophy that I don't often read, but someone very important for me reads a lot of this, and I have no excuse to not read this, because like, it's not only that I know that I will enjoy reading this a lot more than I enjoy reading some of the dead philosophers that I normally read. It's also that this seems so much more relevant, and I know that Angela Davis is a good writer of this kind of literature. So, yeah, I'll read this and talk about it, and maybe even make a read-along or something. What is philosophy? I have considered doing a read-along of this as well. I don't know, read-alongs seem to take a lot of time, because you cannot just speed through the book. You have to like stop in every stage and make a video and reflect about it, which is very productive. It's a good thing to do. It makes you retain a lot more. But if I want to retain a lot, I should cut, like, basically do half of the amount of books that I want to read, probably. So yeah, I'll read this. The Last Samurai, but Helen DeWitt. I think I heard about this book when Steve Donaghy was reading. I don't remember exactly what he was doing. Yeah, something with the New York Times. I think he was criticizing a list and ranting about it, but then he saw this book in the list and he was like, "Oh wow, this is actually a good book." And I was like, "Oh really? You and the New York Times agree? I have to see why is that." So. Yeah, I'm reading this. I also very, very rarely read contemporaneous works of novels, or especially novels. So it looks like a very good chance to read a good book that hasn't been published before I was born. I know nothing about it. Now, Entangled Life. I don't know what I will think about this book. I know it has a lot of interesting stuff in it, and this is the month of science as well as Young on the Range. So I think first I will do the science. This will be read and reviewed soon. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna just like take it. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat every page. I'm gonna finish this book in 2 days. I'm gonna read this book in fucking 2 days. You know why? Because I work underground on a kitchen as a chef, and by this time of the year there is not a lot of work to do, and no one is supervising me. So I'm gonna sit on the table, and I'm gonna read through this on my double shift on Sunday. And I'm gonna get to the end of the book the next day. So yeah, Tango Life. And then I'll let you know whether or not it's a good book or not. I know it's very interesting because I was trapped on a hike in Yorkshire in winter last year, in which everything about that hike was tough and not enjoyable. But a friend of mine had just read this book and he was talking about it, and the things he was saying about it were very interesting. So I'm reading this book. Just in case that science book is not good, because I skimmed through it and I heard another friend who also read it, and the writing might not be amazing. I have a recipe, I have a remedy for that, and it's this. Annie Dillard, Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. I know 0 things about this book, except that it's on the words of Steve Donaghy. This is not the moment to retract your words. He said this, and I'm just believing. I'm believing real hard that, as he said, this is the best nature writing book he ever read. Not a good nature writing book, not an acceptable nature writing book, not one of the best. He said, this might just be the best nature writing book I have ever read. And if he said that, and he reads so much, who am I to not give it a try? So this is gonna be read this summer. And yeah, I'll make a long video about it. If it's as good as he says it is, or if it's half as good as he says it is, I will love this book and I will probably be talking about it a lot. So yeah, that's it. And those are the books I want to read this summer. Some of them. And the ones that I will probably read. The ones that you will probably hear about. The ones that, yeah, I believe I can fly, and I believe I can read those as well. Thank you if you've been 18 minutes watching this. Thank you. Let me know in the comments something about whichever of these books. Anything. I don't even care about spoilers, so you can't even spoil them for me. Enjoy. If that's your thing, I am compatible with that thing. Have a nice day. Yeah, I don't know when I'll make another video, but this video has been made, and this is the end.